Hello and welcome to the latest Well-Balanced Kids video. Do you like staring at the stars? Do you like a starry night? Like this beautiful painting by Vincent van Gogh? I love a starry night, and in today's yoga we're going to be the stars. So do you want to join me today? If so, go and grab your mat, put it down, and let's get into stargazing. What do you like about a starry night? I love how you can see different shapes in the stars, like the plough or the sisters, all the names of the different stars. And we're going to make some of those shapes today with our bodies. So I hope you're ready to do some moving. So are you ready to warm our bodies up? We need to warm our bodies up first so that when we do those big stretches, we don't hurt ourselves. So make sure you've got plenty of room around yourself and you're not going to stand on anything like a piece of Lego or a toy that might hurt your feet. And we'll get going, okay? So we're going to start with our sun salutation, because even though we have the moon out and the stars, there's also just up here the sun, and we need to say thank you, sun, for coming up and warming us all up and enabling the plants to grow. So are you ready? Let's stand on the edges of our mats, put our feet hip width apart and roll our shoulders back, because we don't want crunched up shoulders, and roll our shoulders forwards too. And then reach up high as if we're reaching to the stars. Can you maybe pick some of the stars from above the sky? If you can, I'm impressed. You've got really long arms. Keep them up high. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Then let's fold over and stick our bottoms out as if we're trying to stick our bottoms out as far as we can, as if we're looking down here. Maybe there's a star that's fallen on the ground. Let's go a bit closer and have a look, shall we? Can you see where that star has fallen? Have you got a fallen star? What wish would you make on a fallen star? Because they say you can, don't you? If you see a falling star, that you make a wish and it'll come true. But you mustn't tell anyone what your wish is, otherwise it won't come true. I'm wishing I could hold this pose for longer because it's starting to hurt my arms and legs. How are you doing with it? Let's go down into this pose, clam pose or child pose, which is like a star that's fallen down to earth. And then let's do upward dog, as if we're a dog looking up into the stars. And then push back into downward dog and stretch out those legs. Give a good old stretch out and push back. And then left foot forward. You're doing lizard on the other side, like we're looking for our stars on the floor again. Not seeing any down here. We'll have to reach up and pick some more off the sky. That's your first round of your sun salutation. How did you do? Should we do it again, just to warm up our bodies a little bit more? See whether you can do it a little bit faster maybe this time, but not too fast, because we need to give our bodies a chance to really stretch and warm up. Okay, so shoulders rolling back, shoulders rolling forward, hands up to pick those stars. How many did you get this time? Forward. Let's look on the ground, see whether we can see those stars. Flatten that back, stick out that bottom. Then hands down and one foot back, really stretching out those legs and looking at those stars on the ground. Then holding a nice high plank pose, so your body's nice and straight, like a plough maybe. Like you have the star sign, the plough, don't you? Then down onto the ground like a star that's fallen out the sky. Then upward dog. Having a good old look, maybe having a ooh howl at the moon. It's wolves, isn't it? That howl ooh at the moon.
Then push back into downward facing dog. Push that bottom up into the air. And left foot forward. Looking for those stars on the floor again. No, not seeing any down here right now. Flatten that back. No stars on the ground here.
So let's reach up to the sky and pick some more.
And down into prayer. Well done. The first pose we're going to do in our stargazing session today is star pose. Star pose is super simple. We're just going to make ourselves into a star.
So legs out nice and wide, arms out nice and wide, and stretch. Feel as if someone's pulling your arms and your legs, and you're getting stretched as far as you can. Can you feel that tingle? I wonder where the stars tingle. They certainly twinkle, don't they? Twinkling in the night sky. And then let's become a folded star. So imagine someone's folding you across your waist, and you're going to touch your fingers down onto your toes.
So, can you reach your toes?
Can you reach them without bending your knees? If you need to bend your knees, that's absolutely fine. See whether you can do it. If you can't bend your knees, maybe you could just bend down to so. Or maybe you're really super flexible and can bend down and put your hands on the floor and your head through your knees. Whatever you can do is fine. It's not a competition. I'm sure there's lots of people that can do it better than me. And there'll be some that won't be able to do it as well as me. And that's okay. Whatever feels comfortable for you. Okay, should we try one more time to do the folded star? And down we go. And then let's do a twisted star. This time you take one hand and you take it to the opposite foot, like so. And then we'll take the other hand and move it to the opposite foot, like so. Can you feel the stretch all down the inside of your legs? Let's do it again, nice and slowly. One foot, and then the other foot. And let's do one more twisted star for good luck. One foot and the other foot. And as we're outstretched like this, I feel like we should maybe go into triangle pose, because we're kind of halfway there already. So just bring one hand down to one knee and the other hand up. And imagine you've got a wall in front of you, so you're not bending forward. You're keeping a nice straight body and you're just bending to one side. And maybe you can feel the stretch all along here. And then because in yoga, we always do both sides, don't we? Otherwise we'll stretch out one side and not the other. So let's do it on the other side too. Lovely, well done. And you might want to shake out your arms and shake out your legs, because we've been stretching them for quite a while. We might feel a bit tired. Now, in the stars at night, as I said earlier, we've got all these different shapes, and these different shapes can be our star sign. Do you know what star sign you are? Maybe you believe in them, maybe you don't, but that's okay. Oh, little black cat coming to join us in our stargazing session. So you may be a Libra or an Aries or a Pisces or Cancer or Sagittarius. They all relate to different months of the year in which you were born. So the first thing that we're going to do is the sign for Taurus. And Taurus is the bull. So Taurus is if you're born sort of mid-April to mid-May. So maybe that's you, I don't know. For bull pose that we're doing to represent Taurus, you go into downward facing dog. So you've got your hands nice and wide like dog paws, and you're pushing back from your hands and you're trying to get your heels as close as you can to the floor.
And you're really stretching out back so that your bottom is as high in the air as possible and your flat back is as flat as possible. And then you bring one foot into the middle and you take the other foot and you bring it as close as you can to your forehead. So you're really rounding your back. And that's bull pose. And then, of course, we need to do it on the other side. So we do the other side with bull pose too. Very good.
So another star sign is Pisces. And Pisces is the two fish that kind of swim towards each other. And Pisces is for people who are born sort of between mid-February and mid-March. So for Pisces, we're going to do half fish pose. Now, it's really important when you're in this pose that you don't move your head about. So just sit and watch what I'm doing and then do the pose. Okay, so watch what I do, then pause the video and then do the pose. Okay. So first of all, what I do is I lie down and my hands are by my side and my feet and legs are glued together nice and tight. And then I'm going to put all my weight on this bit of my arm. So from my hand to my elbow. I'm not going to put any weight on my head at all. It might look like I am, but I won't be. And then I imagine that someone's got a string that's attached to my chest and they're pulling that string up. And as I get pulled up, as my chest pulls up, my head goes back. And all my weight is on my arms. So I'm not resting on my head at all. And as you can see, I'm looking straight back. I'm not twisting my neck at all either. So this is half fish pose. So lie down, glue your legs together, bring up your chest as if someone's pulling a string, put all the weight on your elbows to your wrists and look straight back. And then when you're ready, come back down. So why don't you pause the video just here and give it a go? Are you done? Did you manage to do it? So you've done half fish pose for Pisces. And then next we are going to do a pose for Libra. Now Libra is if you're born in mid-September to mid-October, and it's usually represented by scales, old-fashioned scales where you've got a weight on either side, working out what's quite level. So for the pose that we're going to do to represent Libra, we're going to do a balancing pose. We're going to do tree pose. So put your feet down nice and firm, a little bit apart, not right close together, so you can get stronger balance. Imagine your feet have roots and they're going deep down into the floor. And then you have a choice. You can either put your foot on your ankle, if you find that a bit easier, or you can put your foot on your inner thigh. But don't put your foot on your knee because you can push your knee joint out of place. And normally with tree pose, we put our hands either above our head like this or by our chest like this. But because we're doing Libra and we're a set of scales, we're going to put our arms out to the side, which makes it a little easier to balance. Another trick to remember to balance easier is to find a drishti point. That's a point of focus. So you look at one thing. I'm just looking at the camera and I'm just focusing on that. But if I looked at a person, they might move and then I'd lose my balance. And you can use your arms as well to help you balance. So we're like a scale in our Libra star sign pose. And bring your foot down. And you might find that one foot is easier than the other. So let's try and do it on the other side. This time I'm just going to go with the ankle this time and bring up my scales as if we are a set of scales. Scales where you measure the weight of things. Often now we have digital scales and they don't look like this anymore. They're just something that you put on. But in the old days, you used to have scales that looked like this and you'd put weights on one side and whatever you were measuring on the other. Okay, that's Libra. There's lots of other star signs. Maybe you can think of some. My birthday is at the end of March, so I'm an Aries, and Aries is represented by a sheep. So you haven't got a sheep pose in yoga. What would you do for a sheep pose, I wonder? Maybe you could do whatever star sign you are and work out what pose you'd like to do for that.
have a bit of fun making up yoga poses for your star sign. Anyway, we're going to go into right at the end, if you want to stop the video and do your own star sign with whatever pose you want, that's fine. But then let's do nice child pose, because it's really good for stretching out our backs after all that stretching. And we can imagine that we're a star that's fallen down to earth. We're a shooting star. So rest your head on the ground and your hands by your feet. Just curl up, imagining that you are a star shooting through space. And just hold it there for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then super slowly curl back up. Well done. So we're going to do a little breathing exercise. Because we're doing stars today, I've chosen lion's breath because the lion represents another star sign, Leo, which is people born, I think, mid-August, mid-September. And so to do lion's breath, we make funny faces. It's really good fun. We put our hands up like they're big claws, and then we stick our tongues out like a lion who's out of breath. So open your mouth as wide as you can and stick your tongue out. And then take a deep breath in and then blow it all out. Let's see your scary lion's breath. 1, 2, 3, breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. And last time, one more big lion's breath in and out. Well done. And we're going to, just for our little mindfulness exercise, we're just going to close our eyes and see what we can see. Now, maybe all you can see, all I can see, is my eyelids, the back of my eyelids, and they're black like a night sky. And they've got little pinpricks of light from where the light is coming through them. And they're a bit like the stars. But you might be able to see pictures when you close your eyes. We all see different things. Maybe you can see what you've been watching and you see the image of this beautiful painting behind me of Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night. Or maybe you can imagine the stars at night in the big night sky. Maybe you're thinking of different things entirely and you can see other pictures. Some people can see pictures, some people can't. And no one's better or worse for that. That's just who you are. So just have a good look at what you can see behind your eyelids. Very good. So now it comes to the time where we relax. And so I just want you to get yourself a cushion, maybe a blanket or something warm, and make yourself comfortable and lie down. Lie on your back if you can, so it gives you a chance for your body to really relax and no muscles are tense because you're lying on your back. And try to uncross your arms and your legs. And I shall begin. And for today, we're going to take a walk under the stars at night. And you're with someone that you love and you feel comfortable with. And it's a beautiful, mild night. It's not very cold. And the sky is completely clear of all the clouds. And you are out in the countryside where there is no artificial light, no street lights or house lights. And so you can see lots and lots of stars. So many stars, in fact, it looks like someone spilt a bag of sugar all over the sky, and there's little dots of white everywhere you look. And in fact, you're so overwhelmed by how many stars that you can see. You stop and you look closely. And not only can you see those little dots of white, you might be able to see one dot that's more sort of orangey red. And that would be Mars, the planet. That's a little orangey red. And you might see little twinkling red lights of satellites that are far up in space. And you might be able to see patterns in the stars of all the different star constellations that there are. And in the distance, if you look really, really carefully, you might see a little bit of haziness. And that haziness where there's lots and lots of stars all together is the Milky Way. And as you look up at all those stars, you feel quite small because you suddenly realize the universe is a really, really big place. And we are just one planet among thousands of planets. And we are just one thing circling in the universe, along with all those other stars and planets. And really, Earth in itself is really quite small in comparison to other planets like Jupiter or the Sun, which is a star in itself. And when you think like that, then you realize that we're all quite small and insignificant compared to this big old world and universe that we live in. And when we think that, I find it sometimes quite reassuring, because whatever our problems are, at the end of the day, they're quite small compared to the size of the universe. And the stars will always be there, and the night sky will always be there, even when we are not. And so we can think that we are all made from the same thing as the stars are made of. The stars are made from atoms, and we are made from atoms, and we are made from stardust. So we are part of the stars, and the stars are part of us. And so with that thought that we are all part of the universe all together, I'm going to leave you for 30 seconds to just listen to the music and relax. Enjoy. And now, take yourself up carefully and slowly. Sit yourself up and bring your hands together, and let's say Namaste. Thank you for joining me in this yoga session, Stargazing, today. I hope you enjoyed it. The goodness in me sees the goodness in all of you. Until next time, bye-bye.